Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this transfer deadline day special of TIki-Taka Chatter. You're with me, Lee Hurley, along with my usual partners in crime, Frankie Bruno and Michael Keegan. Guys, how are we doing?
Very
Good.
Very well. Exciting. Very exciting today.
You
Got this
timed it
great
both.
buzz about it.
You timed it both really well because Frank, you said very, and then Michael, you said good.
It was planned. It was planned. Well done, Mike. I
Yeah,
like
we've
that.
been chatting.
Let's do it every week. Try it.
Make it a thing. Make it a thing. Frank, welcome back. You missed the last episode. We missed you.
I did. Thank you. I was so gutted I couldn't make it. So apologies to our fabulous guest that came on. So yeah, apologies for that. And hopefully we'll get him back on the show.
And to everyone, Frank celebrated his 30th birthday this week. Little round of applause for Mr. Bruno.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Feeling young as ever.
Yeah, so he's ready to get going tonight.
Just did my back in.
And so
right.
we've got what?
No, go for it. Go.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking to me. And we've also got our great friend of the show, Ryan Baldy, with us. Ryan, how you doing?
How's it going, guys? Everyone okay?
Welcome, Ryan. Welcome back.
Good.
Good to have you, mate.
Thank you.
So let's get started. So I think the only place really to start is with our good friends Arsenal Football Club. So basically, want to open to you guys. Have Arsenal done enough to keep the fans happy? What do we think? Frank, we'll start with you.
Let me have some fun. All right, so no, I think it's absolutely dreadful. I think they haven't done enough. They were going for all this kind of hype of who they were going to buy, and Benzema was in the picture, and Higuain was in the picture, and let's bring it. Oh yeah, Benteke, and then we bring it right down to Perez, and they signed Perez up front. Wow. So I don't know. We'll hopefully we'll be able to get some reactions from fans. Perez is not the signing that they would have wanted. I don't think, anyway. They signed Mustafi. I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's getting on with age.
No, he's young.
How old is he?
He's
25? Younger?
Yeah, no more than 25.
Okay. To be honest with you, I don't know much about Mustafi, and I think I need to.
I think based on that comment, I think that's quite clear.
I think it was just based on the fact that the love hatred that I have for Arsenal. I think that showed there, but no, I don't think they did enough personally. I mean, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but if I was, I wouldn't be happy.
Okay.
No, I think a lot of Arsenal fans aren't happy. They haven't done enough to keep Arsenal fans happy, but have they done enough to get top four? And that's obviously their aim, regardless of what the fans want. The answer is probably yes. Think they have? I think they're strong enough.
Ryan, what do you think?
I think the business they've done, if you take it in isolation, isn't too bad. I think the main thing that annoyed Arsenal fans was the timing of it. I mean, for a long time it seemed as if, well, back when they first brought Xhaka in, they brought him in early doors, and it looked like they got their act together, and then he went for Vardy, and that didn't quite come off, and then it was just a radio silence for weeks and weeks, and I think Gunners fans started to get a little bit nervy, and then they've brought the two players in, Mustafi and Perez from La Liga, who are both good players. I think Perez, I'm not sure how much he'll start. He's been at Deportivo for a couple of years, they're his hometown club, but before that, he's 27 now. Before that, he's bounced around Europe a bit. He's played in Greece, he's played for a few different Spanish teams. He's never really been prolific. He's played a lot out wide. So it's only in the last 18 months or so where he's had a real good run of form. So we'll see how he adapts and see whether he can keep up the form he showed last season. But Mustafi's a great buy. I've seen quite a lot of him. He's getting called a World Cup winner a lot, but he didn't really have a lot to do in the 2014 World Cup. He was
probably the last to pick up his medal.
Yeah, he was very much a bench warmer, but he's a top player. Used to be on Everton's book, moved to Sampdoria, he's been at Valencia. Played alongside Nicolas Otamendi the season before last, and a lot of people think that Otamendi got a lot of the praise that Mustafi really worked for. He was the one making Otamendi look like a better player, and if you've seen City playing the last 12 months, you probably can understand that point of view. But yeah, I think it's good business. I think it's just bad timing. They probably could have got Mustafi about £10 million cheaper if they'd have done it a month or two ago. But they've got it done now. They've got it through the line. They're already we're in 3 games now, so they've missed out on having these guys in and hitting the ground running. But better late than never, I guess.
I was going to say, never mind the 10 mil. That could have been 3 extra points.
Yeah,
exactly.
It counts.
Ryan, can I throw you a question? I mean, I know you're not an Arsenal fan, but if would you consider Arsenal as a big club?
I think, yeah, they are. I think what I think about Arsenal mainly at the moment, I think Wenger, when he came back in, I think it was 96 and 97, he was ahead of the time. But over the last few years, he's just refused to move with the times and he's been left behind. So I think he's just a man who kind of wishes it was still sort of 2002, but refusing. Yeah. It's a bit like Fergie in his last few years. He kept banging on about how there's no value in the market.
Yeah.
But the market dictates value, and the market at the moment has gone through the roof. The TV money is almost double, so it makes sense that the transfer fees and the wages are going to be close to doubling as well, and that's what's happened, and he's just refusing to adapt to it. So I think Arsenal at the moment, they're still a Champions League club.
Yeah.
They're not really contenders in the league or in Europe, but they're one of the top 2 or 3 consistently, but they are in danger of slipping out of that category, so something needs to happen soon for them.
Yeah, because the reason why I asked you that question is because, I mean, if we talk about big clubs, I would never imagine Man City or let's say Chelsea signing a striker like Perez, let's say, if they were a top club. And I think if Arsenal consider them as a top, if they consider themselves as a top club, I think Perez is not good enough. I think, yeah, like you said, he's a good striker, but he's not world class. And I think these teams that are proving to be the biggest clubs in Europe, they all have a marquee signing up front or in midfield or even in defence. But Arsenal don't seem to have that.
Yeah, they've had the same holes in their squad for pretty much the past decade. They've missed a physical midfielder since Vieira retired, and they've got Xhaka now. I think he will be a good player for them. They've been missing a centre-half partner for Koscielny. I mean, Gabriel Polis is a decent player, but he's no better than back in Perma. Zaka's got a turning circle across Channel Ferry, so he's always going to get caught out of the pace. And they've needed a striker pretty much since Henry left for the first time for Barcelona. And Perez isn't your man. They should have gone all out to get Lacazette. Again, it was a price issue with Wenger not wanting to pay the money that was being demanded by Lyon. They wanted sort of 50, 60 million euros. In the current market, if you look at Higuain at almost 29 years old, has gone for 90 million euros. Is Lacazette for 2/3 of that price? It sounds like a lot of money, but it's not terrible value. And I think that would have been the type of signing that would have taken them on a level. So I think they just took a bit of a shortcut really in going for Perez.
So they can always get Danny Welbeck back.
That's true. In about 9 months' time.
Yeah. Going back to your point, Frank, regarding Perez not being a marquee signing and not being the kind of player they wanted, Man City went for Nolito. Now, I know he played in the Euros and he played okay, but he's 2-3 years older. It just doesn't mean just because they're not a marquee signing that they're not going to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the stats between Nolito and Perez. How many goals did Nolito get last year for his previous team? So he got 39 goals. 39 goals in 100 appearances in 3 years.
Yeah, it's not too prolific.
No.
And he had quite good Euros with Spain.
To be fair, Nolito as well was playing. He's a left winger. Perez can play out wide, but he was shifted centrally in the last 18 months or so for Deportivo, and that's when he really made the change to becoming a bit more prolific. He scored 17 goals, I think, last season, and that's by far the most he's ever scored. Yeah, I think he actually scored when I went to watch Barcelona the season before last. He scored against them at the Camp Nou. He scored a good goal, if I remember. Could have been someone else, but I'm pretty sure it was him.
In those seats, it could be anyone.
Yes, yeah, I was pretty high up.
See, for me, I before obviously they got Mustafi in and they got Perez in, I thought Rob Holding looked like a good signing. £2 million, a young English centre back. He's looked fairly sturdy considering you've had Chambers in with him, who's been in the Premier League longer. I think Holding looked like the more experienced centre back between the two of them.
It said a lot that Holding got played over Chambers when Koscielny was back.
And Chambers has been shifted off to Middlesbrough on loan.
Ooh.
So,
Wow.
so he's only been in the club what a couple of months. He's already moved up the pecking order. So, £2 million looks like a good bit of business for Arsenal. He
Yeah,
could be.
what I would say.
You
Sorry,
go
I
on,
was, I
Ryan.
was just going
That's
to
right.
say what I would say about that is, if you remember back when Chambers signed, he had a similar start himself, and everyone was saying he's the next England centre back.
Yeah.
When they first bought him from Southampton, they paid quite a bit of money more than Holding, but he made a surprising start too. But one of the things that Arsenal have kind of done for a while now has been building for the future, but never really building for the here and now. Um, like when they brought in Oxlade-Chamberlain, when they brought in Walcott, they brought in these kinds of players who've always been sort of the feeling being was that in 2 or 3 years' time these guys will be world beaters.
Yeah.
But they've always been preparing for that 2 or 3 years down the line, and they've never sort of gone for the here and now, which I thought was when they went for Vardy, I thought that really indicated a shift in that thinking. I thought maybe Wenger sees that time's running out for him, so he's going for the older players. So maybe Perez at 27 is the sort of guy who's going to come in and hit the ground running. I know, like you guys were saying, Mustafi's still fairly young for a defender, but he's experienced. So that's
Yeah.
kind of Holdings is a great signing for £2 million, and I'm sure he will go on to have a good career. But they still did need to go back into the market to get someone who's ready to hit the ground running if they want to challenge for the title this year.
Yeah, I think as you said earlier, Ryan, I think the idea is Wenger should have he could have got all these signings in for cheaper and earlier, have a pre-season together, get them gelled into the team, so when that game against Liverpool came, they were ready to go, rather than the performance we ended up seeing.
Mm.
But look, let's get some Arsenal perspective here. We've got Terry on the line. Terry, you there?
I am. Good evening, gentlemen.
Terry, welcome
Good
to the
evening,
show.
Terry.
All right, Terry.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So, Terry, let's put the questions to you.
Yeah.
Have Arsenal done enough with their transfer dealings to keep the fans happy, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, obviously, I sent in some questions a couple of weeks ago, and it seems that between Arsenal fans, I go to the games. I'm got quite a wide spectrum of friends that follow the Arsenal, and it just seems that we're talking about the same thing over and over again. Okay, we had a half decent season last season, came second in the end. I don't know how that panned out, but I think we're all in shock about it, and that's with only buying, if I'm getting my transfers right, one outfield player, and that was El Neni in January.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but obviously we're still disappointed that we're not beating the teams we should. We're not getting the results we should at times. We keep getting knocked out of club competitions. We keep getting injuries, and it just seems to be the same story. So, for yesterday, two signings to be announced, which is Mustafi and Perez. Okay, let's look at Mustafi to start with. I think we know the weakness in the defence is maybe the centre-back pairing, and also goals. We're lacking goals, so I think Mustafi coming in could be a bit of an upgrade for the back. He's not had too many international appearances. I was looking on Wikipedia to see what he's done for Germany. He's had one appearance there, but I guess only time will tell if he's any better than what we've got already. Perez, you're right. One of the guys made a comment there about hitting the ground running. You think he scored 17 goals last season in La Liga, and that's for Deportivo. I think they finished, mid-table, maybe 15th if I've read that right. So I don't know. Is he going to be any better than Giroud? We know Giroud is half decent in the air. His link-up play is relatively good, but I think we need goals, and I'm just hoping that Mustafi can, Perez can start to click with the team and finish those plays that we so often see.
So
You know,
Terry,
we've got.
quick. Go on. Sorry, finish off. Finish off what you
Yeah,
said.
no, that's a part of Arsenal. I was going to say the play, let's even call it tiki-taka football, all the passing and the link-up play and whatnot. It's just the end result. So maybe Perez can finish those where Giroud couldn't.
So my question to you is,
Mm.
with the signings that Arsenal have made, what is your expectation as an Arsenal fan? Where do you want to, realistically, where do you want to end up in the league, or where do you think you're going to end up in the league?
Well, I think you talked about, was Arsenal a big club? I certainly, I'm confident when we go into big games. And maybe I've lost a bit of that confidence since the unbeaten season, whereby we're falling short. But I think we've got some unbelievable players, and we can, on our day, we can beat anyone. I would like to think we can start winning leagues, winning cup competitions, and maybe getting into the latter stages of the Champions League on a regular basis for a period of time, and replace what the Man Cities and the Man Uniteds have been doing for a period of time, and the Chelseas have been doing for a period of time. Obviously through Wenger's early stages, Arsenal were winning leagues back to back and FA Cups back to back kind of thing, and I think that's all still with us as fans. We want that again, and that's what we're hoping for. That's our expectations. So, we're not happy with fourth and third. Even second just seems, I don't know. It was pretty good to finish second last season, but it feels a bit flat.
I think part of the bonus of last season there was pipping Tottenham to it.
How did that happen?
Well, yeah, it was
Frank,
totally
can you
right
tell
off
us?
in the weeks beforehand. And then all of a
Was it
sudden,
lasagna gate again?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Frank, what
Tottenham's
happened
day,
last
isn't
season?
Next question.
it?
Honestly.
Yeah. As a United fan, I know it's painful when you lose to your close to your rivals on the last day like that.
Yeah, I think Tottenham have done us a favour a couple of times over the years of similar situations where we were struggling to get fourth position and Tottenham slipped up, or something along those lines. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, overall, the league, you can see now that the league's changed a little bit. You've got your Leicester's doing extremely well. Looking at last season, Tottenham, have come out of nowhere, and one or two clubs have started to evolve the players, and maybe money doesn't always dictate. I'm just hoping, maybe as a fan, that the two players that we signed on top of what we've got at the moment can maybe string together a season, and we've all got our fingers crossed as Arsenal fans for injuries. But I suppose a question to you guys, what else do you think Arsenal are missing?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, for me, I think what's apparent in all successful teams is a spine throughout the team. And I think, Terry, you're referring back to the Invincibles team and the early successful Arsenal teams. They always had a spine to the team. And I think Arsenal lacked that in recent seasons. They haven't had a commanding centre-back. They haven't had that holding kind of wise old head in midfield. And they haven't had a 25, 30 goal a season striker.
Yeah.
I think, you look at the teams that have won the league, even Leicester had it. They had, all right, maybe not as a high profile as, say, a Man United team has had, or a Chelsea team have had, but that is the key. And I don't see leaders in this Arsenal team. I see a load of guys who are individuals who, when the time comes when they need to step up, they don't. And they look around at each other as if to say, who's going to get us out of this? Because no one looks like they're going to.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they've lacked. And for me, I think it's frustrating. For me, I'm not even an Arsenal supporter, but it's frustrating for the fact that they've been close without spending the money that Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool have spent. And last season to finish second, and as you say, to only buy one outfield player, they're not really doing a lot wrong.
But it's just that something. It's just that
extra bit,
Well,
as you said.
this is what I said at the start. It's not enough to keep the Arsenal fans happy, but it's probably enough to get fourth and maybe have a cup run again.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that we, again, friends and circles, and you hear the fans at the stadium saying is this Wenger's last season, and you'd almost think that if it was, I mean, he's been fantastic for the league, fantastic for the club. He's changed a lot on both those notes, and you'd almost think that he's got all this say money in the bank. He'd go out on a big bang, and he'd certainly bring in maybe a marquee signing to go out on a bit of a winning sort of streak. But has he got sort of plans? Is there going to be any more transfers today? I can't see that any big ones are going to be done. It might be an up-and-coming player. I hear some guy from Paragon is mooted, maybe a bit of a winger is what they're saying there. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we're optimistic, but yeah, it's just a little something missing. But we'll certainly see. Jack Wilshere's gone out to Bournemouth. I know.
Well,
I
that
was
was
just
gonna
about
be
to
my
ask,
next
how do you
point.
feel? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jack Wilshere, you've got quite a good midfield. I think that's one area that all the fans talk about. We've got the Mesut Ozils and Aaron Ramseys and Santi Cazorlas, and Xhaka seems a very good prospect now. We kind of play a 4-3-3, so you've got wingers in that mix that can go in that combination, like your Oxlade-Chamberlain and your Theo Walcott. But Jack Wilshere going out, I think he's maybe not done enough in the last couple of seasons to say to Wenger, I'm going to pick him over someone like Aaron Ramsey or Santi Cazorla who can really win games for you. Bournemouth, it's a nice part of the world. Maybe he wants to go and just have a string of games, doesn't want to go and play Champions League and go abroad, doesn't want to do too much other than concentrate on getting his fitness and confidence back, and maybe that's why Bournemouth's been a pick there. I heard lots of clubs came in. He could have gone to Italy or wherever all these other clubs were from and probably done quite well, but maybe he just wants to play week in, week out, 90 minutes each time and really show what he can do. Obviously, he's going to probably start for Bournemouth. I don't know their team inside out, but certainly Jack Wilshere isn't going to struggle for getting in the team. I wouldn't have thought if he can play to his potential. So maybe a wise move if he comes out of the season uninjured and he's put in lots of decent performances and they can do relatively well. But certainly is what he needed. I think everyone realises that, and I think right now he's not ahead of people like Ramsey and Mesut and even Francis Coquelin is doing quite a solid job back there and quite tidy on the ball. So we'll certainly see. But yeah, interesting one.
So Terry, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Of all the transfers that Arsenal have been rumoured to be trying to complete over the summer, people like Higuain, you had Benteke, you had Vardy, you had James Rodriguez, Boney. Who for you is the player that you're most disappointed didn't come? Lacazette as well.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Lee. Good question.
Thank you, Terry.
You will see. Well, definitely goals is what Arsenal needed. Absolutely, definitely needed. And I think, you even got the young lad Julian Drexler in there who is starting to break in the German national team. He's I don't know if he's an out-and-out striker. He's maybe one of the sort of, I don't know what they refer to him.
I think he's an attacking midfielder.
Yeah, sort of a wing forward or whatever they call him now.
Yep.
So we would have loved to have seen Gonzalo Higuain in the team. I don't know whether I'd have liked to have seen him when he had that massive belly on him, if you saw the pictures when he first made his debut.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think they might have put him in. But someone like that.
That's a valid point, but keep calling him fat and you'll keep scoring, he said. So
is that what he said?
That's what he said.
So that is the sort of signing that I think a lot of teams would want in the Premiership. He is an international player. He can finish with both feet. I'm not sure if he's very pacey, but it literally is the finishing. I think his price was ridiculous, and I actually do believe Wenger is scared of spending the big money. I think his most expensive player is Mesut Ozil, if I'm getting my figures right. So breaking the bank to bring in someone who, and he's quite old as well, Higuain, isn't he? How old is he now?
29, 30, I think he is.
Yeah.
No, he's
so-
actually 20. Yeah, 29. 29.
29. So, what would you say? He's probably got possibly three really sort of top seasons, and then maybe he might go back to Argentina after that, or something along those lines. Anyway, so I'm disappointed that we haven't had a marquee signing come in. We've got Alexis Sanchez in the team and Mesut Ozil, and they're the sort of players that really put Arsenal on the sort of world map when you look at their squad. So having that marquee forward come in is probably what we're hoping for, and maybe someone like a Higuain. Whether the quality of some of the other guys, Lacazette could have probably been very, very good. He didn't want to pay 50 mil for him. I think the transfer policies have been a bit strange. We don't quite understand it. Going in for players at 15, 20 mil and then ended up paying 35. With Mustafi, I don't quite understand it, but the forwards is the area that we're a little bit disappointed in. Not bringing in a big superstar, but who knows? Perez might be that Jamie Vardy that Arsenal were looking for.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's just going to be one of those things we're just going to have to wait and see.
Absolutely.
And, he spent a fair bit of money, 60, 70,
Yeah.
80 million, I think in total. That's not a bad bit of money. So, we've got to, if he's going to go out in his last season at Arsenal, let's see what he does. We'll leave it with him. Well, look,
absolutely.
Terry, it's been great having you on the show. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, James. It's been good talking to you. Appreciate the time.
Cheers, Terry.
And good luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Cool. All right, mate.
Have a
You
good
take
one.
it easy, all right?
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Guys, just wanted to breaking news. As I like my breaking news. It's not a major signing, but Leicester City have just signed Slimani from Sporting Lisbon.
Very good. I think it's a very good signing.
I think it's a good signing.
I saw him in the Europa League, and I saw him. Was it the African Cup of Nations? I think I saw him in. Very good player.
Yeah,
I'm
he's good.
thinking he's another guy who's just rapid.
Yeah, he's another Vardy, basically.
So he seems okay. He's 28 years old. 82 appearances, 48 goals for Sporting.
It's good.
Not bad. 1 and 2 ish.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad.
How much?
At all.
Undisclosed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's an undisclosed fee.
It's going to be about 30 million euros apparently, club record.
Really?
Yeah, they've paid a lot of money for him. They're trying to get Adrian Silva from Sporting as well. They're going to do a double deal, which would have cost them about 70 million euros.
Wow.
But apparently, Sporting have pulled the plug on the Adrian Silva one. If you remember him from the Portugal side in the Euros, he's a bit of a box-to-box or a holding midfielder. He was quite a good player. But he won't be going, but they've got Slimani.
Good signing. Good signing, I think. Yeah, I think they're going to... Well, apparently Sunderland have bought a Kante-like midfield player. Just get the name of him. Is it Dolby? Ndong, that's it. Completely way off. Yeah. And apparently he's a very similar player. Doesn't score a lot of goals.
Who for, sorry?
Sunderland signed him.
Yeah.
I think around 13 million. Ryan, am I right in saying that?
Yeah, that's about right. I can't pretend to know much about Ndong, but I did see Andrew Gibney from French Football Weekly, who knows his French football inside out, tweeted that he's probably not quite worth that much money yet, but I guess it's all irrelevant, really, isn't it?
This
these
is for
days.
Sunderland, right?
Sunderland.
Right, because Tottenham has obviously signed someone today from Marseille.
Nkudu. Yeah,
he's a winger. They've been on the verge of getting him for weeks and weeks. I do a roundup of all the transfer rumours every day for football listeners, and he's been on there for months now.
Yeah, he has been there for months. Is he a winger? Because I've been doing a bit of research, and they're saying he's an attacking midfielder, so I can't quite work it out.
Yeah, he plays out wide. I think he can play on either wing. Right. Clinton and G's gone the other way on loan as well, so it's kind of a like-for-like swap, but hopefully just a bit better.
Yeah. Also, Samir Nasri has gone.
Sevilla, yeah.
To Sevilla.
Yeah. Sunderland as well tried to get.
Yeah.
Have you seen Sevilla's team this season? Anyone?
No, I haven't.
They have got
Yeah, I
a
watched them the other
very
night.
decent team now.
Well, I don't like that you said that because that's Juventus's first game in the Champions League. So, and it's already Juventus's bogey team.
Let me tell you who they've got, right? So they've got Nasri, they've got Joaquin Carrera, the Argentinian midfield player. They've got Ben Yedder, who's a young French winger, I believe. A lot of 26, but a lot's been said about him. He's very highly rated in France. Scored 63 goals in 156 appearances for Toulouse for a striker slash winger. And now this is where it gets good. So they've got Ganzo. Any of you Football Manager fans will know about Ganzo.
Football Manager legend.
Very good player. It's very similar to kind of a Pirlo kind of player. Not very pacey, but can ping a ball around.
You're comparing him to a big star there, mate.
Well, wait and see, my
Is
friend.
he that good?
Wait. Well, he's of that kind of mould. I'm not going to say he's the next Pirlo or he is Pirlo, but he's that kind of player.
Right.
Yeah, he was.
So
He was.
the attacking midfielder, but in the defensive midfielder role.
Yeah, a register they call it in Italy, don't they? A deep lying playmaker.
That's it.
He had a really big reputation when he was like 19, 20 at Santos. He won the Copa Libertadores with Neymar. And then he went off the boil a bit. Fell out with the fans over some kind of deal to acquire his economic rights. You know how there's always all these third party ownerships in Brazil. They ended up selling to Sao Paulo. He went off the boil for a couple of years, but he's just started getting it back. So he's going to be an interesting signing. He'll be there pretty much to replace Ever Banega, who's gone to Inter on a free transfer. Who's a pretty massive loss for Sevilla, to be honest.
So
they lost Banega to Inter and they lost Gamero to Atletico Madrid as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with that, those two.
Yeah,
that's Monchi at work, isn't it?
That's it. I like this.
Yeah. He's the man, yeah.
He's a smooth operator, the director of football at Sevilla.
If I wanted replacements, he's the guy I'd be looking at.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on. So, the question to you guys again. Who out of the contenders has strengthened the best, do you think? Ryan, I'll go with you first.
Without wanting to come across as biased, I do think for what they wanted to achieve, I think United have absolutely hit it out of the park this transfer window. Ideally, they'd probably want another centre half and maybe a right back, but for the spine of the team that they've rebuilt and they've spent a lot of money. They've broke the world record to bring Pogba back, but they've just addressed in a kind of opposite to what Wenger does at Arsenal. They've just looked at what they needed and gone out and got it regardless of price. They've ticked all the boxes. They've got players who are going to come in, hit the ground running. They've got big names who are going to do bring in all the money from the marketing side of things.
Yep.
And I think they've gone from having maybe one, probably David De Gea was their only world-class player last season. Yeah. They've probably got 3 or 4 now. 3 or 4 match winners as well. I think Henrik Mkhitaryan, although he hasn't started a game yet, I'm confident he's going to turn out to be one of the signings of the window. Watched him a lot at Dortmund, and he's absolutely superb. So I think it is United. I think City have done well too. I think maybe they've still got a couple more holes in their squad, but they've done a lot of work. They've struck a good balance between building for the here and now and also looking to the future with some of their young signings like Gabriel Jesus and Leroy Sané and players like that. So I'm interested to see how they go on as well.
Okay. Yeah, Gabriel Jesus is the one that excites me. Normally, the career path for that sort of player is somewhere else in Europe. Since come to the UK at such a young age, it'll be interesting to see how he develops.
He's not going to sign until January, is he? He's not going to play for City until January. Haven't they loaned him back, or they've done one of these?
Yeah, he's going to finish out the Brazilian season.
That's it. All right, Keegan, same question to you. What do you think?
Again, same. United. I'm a United fan as well, but we have smashed it out of the park. Everything was done early by the Pogba one. But even that was done fairly swiftly once he finished his holiday.
He made the second game of the season?
Yeah. He was banned for it, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So technically, he could have played in that game if he wasn't suspended.
Yeah. I agree with Ryan. We could have done with another centre half, maybe. I wouldn't have minded seeing a few players go.
I was going to ask you that. Now, you've got a lot of players there. I don't want to call them dead wood, but you know what I mean. Like players who are
Yeah.
not really going to play. They're not going to make the squad. Um, what's your thoughts on that?
Um, well, yeah, I want them to leave in the nicest way possible. For someone like Rojo, um, I feel like Borthwick Jackson might not have been the worst option as a backup left back
Yeah.
compared to Rojo, who we could have just shipped out somewhere. Apparently, the club have rejected all the bids for him. His agent was insisting that United want him to stay, and I can't see him playing that much at all.
Now there was talk of Schneiderlin potentially going to Spurs. Pochettino looking for a reunion there from his Southampton days.
That would
Do you
be
see him getting
exciting.
in the team, the Man
No,
United
there's
team at the
no.
moment?
Oh yeah, we are going to have a lot of games this season, and he is trying. Mourinho's trying to play with four midfielders.
Did you say you,
Um,
you, you have got a lot of games?
yeah, I think we will do Europa League plus the cups.
Yeah.
I think they're planning for a 50-game plus season. Um, when it comes to central midfielders, he's been referring to Schweinsteiger as the fifth, and that's why he's not going to play. And I think the others are Schneiderlin, Carrick, Fellaini, Herrera, Pogba. Oh, sorry, sixth. So
Mata?
he'd be one of the front three behind a striker rather than the deeper two.
Right. Okay. Then you got someone like Danny Blind. Does he make it in the team?
Oh yeah, he
Um,
has to make it in the
he's
team.
been a revelation at centre back. Well, as much as he was last season,
Yeah.
he's done it again this season alongside Eric Bailly. I think he's been brilliant.
I think he's been
Bailly's
great. I
been
think I think he's
steel.
I think he's
And
one of those
then
players that are underrated.
from a tactical point of view, typically we'd have Carrick as that deep sitting midfielder and he'd drop in between the two centre backs and that's where we'd
Mm.
start the play from. But because Blind is sort of in that position anyway, in his natural position, when he's the centre back, it's fine. He can play the ball out from there. It's like we've got an extra player further up the pitch. He's taken over Carrick's old job.
See, I think the thing that Mourinho likes about Danny Blind is he's a bit of a gadget guy. He can play in a number of positions. He can take on instructions. He's very mature in his playing and in his thinking. I think Mourinho likes that.
He's
He
been
always
given a
has.
captain's armband when Rooney's gone off.
There you go. So I see that working. And when it looked like with the transition from Van Gaal to Mourinho, it looked like he may have been one of those players that would have been phased out. But it
Yeah,
looks like he's kind of slotted into exactly what Mourinho wants. Um, so yeah, I like the setup there. So we've got two for United. Frank, what are you
Yep.
saying?
I've really been impressed with Chelsea's signings. I think uh, with the signings that they've made them, and they haven't been erratic about their signings. You know, they've improved the squad that was already very good. Yes, granted that they didn't really perform last year, but I think that was just due to an imbalance of personalities with Mourinho, maybe, and he just created a bit of a feud between players and coaching staff. But yeah, I think they've recruited in the right places. I think with Kante coming in, that was for me a great signing, an incredible signing. I think this midfielder, I mean, we all know because we watch him in the Premier League week in and week out, but I think the world don't know about him yet. Personally, I don't think he's not that name that you kind of go, oh my God, Kante, what a player. But for me, he is. He breaks up play. He reads the game so well. The guy looks like he can run probably 5 marathons in 5 days.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, he's just incredible. So that was a great signing. Um, Now they signed the, sorry if I mispronounced this, the Michi Batsui. Did I get that right, Keegan? Because I know you were practicing that earlier.
Oh, Michi Batshuayi.
That's the one. You're very good with these names. Um, so yeah, so he's another great signing. We saw him for Belgium when he came on a couple of times. He's very quick. He's on the ball. Um, you know, he's sharp. He's in the right places. and with Diego Costa up front, I think that's, when Diego Costa's not having a good time or gets sent off like he usually does, Mitchy's there to step in. And then today, it's just gone all crazy, with Marcos Alonso signing at the back, and potentially also David Luiz. I know there's some haters out there with David Luiz, and they don't really like him as a defender. He's a bit erratic, but I think David Luiz is one of those players that managers haven't experimented enough with him. For me, I think he can play in midfield. I think he can play in defence. He's got a fantastic pass on him. He's got a great shot on him, and I think it's great because Conte he likes to experiment. So I think he'll experiment with David Luiz if he ends up joining.
I do like watching David Luiz play because there's that air of unpredictability about him.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. Is he going to absolutely clatter someone? Is he going to dive? Is he going to make a really good tackle?
Yeah.
See, now going to your point earlier, Frank, about Chelsea doing their business early and so on, I agree with that to an extent. Now, it's been well documented that Chelsea have been looking for a centre-back throughout the whole window.
Yeah.
And they've gone from the chap at Napoli, Ryan, you know his name, centre-back at Napoli.
Koulibaly.
That guy, been hearing his name, 3-4 bids made by Chelsea, turned down. Then you had the chap at AC Milan.
Yeah, Romagnoli.
Yeah, didn't work out, moved on again. I feel like Chelsea got desperate. They needed a centre-back, and they've ended up with David Luiz. Now, David Luiz, he can play. I'll give him that. He can play. He got to a Champions League semi-final. He's won, domestic leagues, cup competitions. I think he's a liability. For all the things he can do, which is entertaining, he is a liability. And
terrify me if he was my centre back.
Exactly. And I can imagine Conte eventually pulling his hair out with some of the wild decisions that David Luiz makes. But 30 years old, £30 million, I think it's been rumoured that they're going to spend on him.
Mm.
He knows the club, he knows the league. I just see it as a desperate move where there was other players that they could have gone for. I mean, 20 million would have got you Stones.
Yeah, that's true.
That to me is a better investment than 30 million on David Luiz, who is a hand grenade waiting to go off.
5 million more would have got you Mustafi.
There you go, another player who I think would have fitted into Conte's system a lot better. Sorry, Ryan.
David Luiz. I was just going to say, I think David Luiz is one of those kind of footballers who's got all the ability in the world, but he just doesn't have a position on the field that he really suits. He's he can do everything, but at the same time, so you can play him in midfield, but people are going to run off him, and he's not going to follow them. You can play him at the back; he's going to have lapses in concentration. And it just strikes me as a really weird one for Chelsea to sign out Conte's in charge, because Conte is all about tactical discipline.
Yeah.
And that's just something that David Luiz doesn't have, and at 29 now, he's probably not ever going to get it. So yeah, I think you're right in saying it's a desperate move. He was probably 6th or 7th on the list. I know they wanted Bonucci at the start of the window. They quickly found out that was a no-go, so they moved on to Koulibaly. They wasted a lot of time there because Napoli.
I could have told them that.
Yeah.
Bonucci deal was
Exactly.
never going to happen.
Napoli were trying to get Maximovic in from Torino before they even considered selling Koulibaly, so they wasted time there. They went to Romagnoli. They did that too late because AC Milan have just agreed to take over, so they don't need the money anymore. So they'd done it a month before, they might have got him. But since the takeover deal was agreed, it's not going to happen. There was even talk of them going for Ayman Abdenor from Valencia as well today.
Yeah.
Who again, he just seemed like a desperate move. He was a good player at Monaco, but he went to Valencia last season. He's had an absolute disaster there. So I just think they were so desperate, and they thought it's better the devil you know, and they've gone with Luiz, who apparently Abramovich is a really big fan of David Luiz. So I imagine he's the driving factor behind bringing him back more than Conte, to be honest. So we'll see how it goes.
That's never a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think of Shevchenko.
It's not the first time either. Shevchenko is another one. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that? Sorry, say that again.
Shevchenko was the other one on his wish list, wasn't it? That he
Oh,
he
yeah.
really wanted to bring in, and we all know how that turned out. So,
Yeah.
guys, just to interrupt slightly, I just want to make a quick shout out to a friend of the family, Michael Amendola. He's doing a 24-hour walk on his treadmill at home to raise money for Macmillan Cancer Support. And just the concept of walking for a day just sounds awful. But he's doing it. He's raised over £1,000. I've just shared his link on the Facebook page. So anyone who sees him on Facebook, do whatever you can to raise money for a great cause. And poor Michael, who I read on his Macmillan page, he was doing his practice run of 19 hours on the treadmill, and he had to cut his training short, I think, because the kids were waiting for him to take them to school. So
Wow.
best of luck to
Not only is he an athlete, he's a true dad.
exactly. So Michael,
Quality.
well done, mate. We got your back. Keep
Good
going.
luck.
And great call. So anyone who checks out our Facebook page, sponsor Michael because he's doing a great thing there. So
Great stuff, Michael. Wish you all the best, mate.
all the best, mate. Moving on swiftly. Who do we think? All the teams in the Premier League, who has done the best business? Do we think overall? Can be selling players, could be buying players, just generally have done good business. Frank, we'll go for you. Get the longest answer out the way first.
Actually, I'm going to keep this quite short and sweet. I'm going to go with Man United. Reason why I say Man United is because I think it was clever getting in Ibrahimovic for free, for nothing. I think his T-shirt sales would have been through the roof. Zlatan is a massive player, name, brand, whatever you want to call it, and I think that generation of money, that money that was being generated by his T-shirt sales, kind of paid off for Paul Pogba, or some of Paul Pogba's fee. So technically, I think that was a really, really good bit of business. Um, So yeah, and then you got is it Bailey's? But how do you pronounce it? Bailey's? It is Bailey or Bailly?
Bye.
Bailly.
French
Again,
is a soft
Bailly
L.
it looks like a great signing as well. And I just think that it was clever business by introducing Zlatan Ibrahimovic and letting his kind of name and brand pay for the other two. I don't think it paid fully, but I think they would have generated quite a bit of money from it.
I'm loving the experience that he's going to be able to pass on to some of the younger players in United.
Sorry,
Yeah.
say that again?
Rashford. The experience that Zlatan is going to be able to pass on to the other young players. Mourinho said that when they have lunch, all the young players will crowd around Zlatan at a table and they want to talk to him, just be around him. It can only rub off well on them, I suppose. It's exciting, the fan.
I would sit next to Zlatan.
Yeah, he'd love it.
I'd definitely have lunch with Zlatan.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
Okay,
Rashford this time
moving.
last year.
Yeah.
No, go on. No, he would have
So
been in the
moving
under
on.
18s. And
Yeah, true. And now look at him. He's having lunch with old Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
tricks
Could
of
have been
trade.
having the Zlatan burger that we discussed a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
So Keegan, who do you think?
Best business in the entire league.
Might as well say Arsenal because they didn't spend it.
Yeah, from a business point of view.
Sorry
Middlesbrough
about
have
that,
done
Terry.
quite well out of it.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes. That's a good shout, Keith.
There's some surprising ones in there, like Negredo. Obviously, they're banking on the massive amounts of TV money they'll get this season, so that's what they're spending in advance. But it's a gamble, and if it pays off, the quid's in.
Yeah, good shout. Just having a look now. They brought a lot of players in,
Yes.
but as you say, they haven't spent a lot of money. So they're not cashing in all their chips in one go. And Negredo was only on loan as well.
Yeah, there'll be a lot in wages going out, I think.
True. And then you've got Callum Chambers, who we spoke about earlier, who's gone there on loan.
Yeah.
They've
Did anyone mention Victor Valdez?
Yeah.
well, they got Brad Guzan as well on loan, not on loan, as a free transfer. So they've invested in goalkeepers. I still think
Chambers
Victor
as well,
Fisher is going to be a decent signing for them.
Who?
Victor Fisher,
Yeah.
I think that's how you say it. The Ajax guy, 22 years old, winger, pretty nippy.
Another football manager.
4.25 million. Bit of a bargain for them.
I still think Negredo was a great signing
You're going to defend that one to the cows come home, aren't you, Frank?
because he's in my dream team and he's doing very well for me. So Negredo, if you're listening, thank you, mate.
Good. All right, and Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with, in terms of incomings and outgoings altogether, I think Southampton have done some really good business.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't want to lose Mane, but it was inevitable that he was going to go, and they got great money for him. But they've brought in, I think they've made possibly two of the signings of the summer in Pierre-Emile Højbjerg bringing him in from Bayern Munich. He's an absolute beast in the deep midfield area. He's a big lad for his age. He's got all the physicality you need to survive in the Premier League, but he's also got a great passing range. He's really, really intelligent player. Pep Guardiola loved him at Bayern. And Sofiane Boufal, they've just broke their transfer record to bring in. I think he has the potential to be this season's Riyad Mahrez. Has a very similar skill set to Mahrez. He'll play out wide, he'll cut in onto his right foot. Very tricky player and can score a goal.
Yeah, and they got Nathan Redmond as well.
Nathan Redmond is another great buy too. Yeah, he'll probably be more of a direct replacement for Mane. I think they've held on to guys like Virgil van Dijk, who I think is quickly becoming one of the best centre backs in the league. James Ward-Prowse is probably going to have a big season.
Jose Fonte, they kept hold of as well.
Yeah, they kept hold of Font as well. Yeah, United wanted him, but they've kept hold of him. So I think all in all, they've let go of Mane, who they didn't really have much choice in, but they made sure they got great money for him, and they've reinvested it really wisely, I think, as they always do.
Exactly.
They always bounce back.
And I mean, they got rid of Pella and Wanyama as well.
Yeah.
These are key players in that team.
They've got just such a great recruitment team there that whenever they have to let a player go, they always make sure they get a great price, and they always make sure they've got options lined up to replace them straight away. And how many times have we seen that the replacements have actually turned out to be better than the players that they let go in the first place?
True.
It just seems to keep happening with them, and it's not a coincidence. They're just a really, really well-run club.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to add my 2 cents to this. For me, I think, and I agree with a lot of what you guys have said, but my best business, I'm going to go with Everton. The reason why I go with Everton is, obviously they sold Stones for 50 or so million. Now for me, when you've got a player who you sell for big money, I think, depending on obviously the status of your team or what you're kind of aiming for, you want to build a team with that money you've made. And to think, they've bought Balassi, they've bought Ashley Williams, who is going to give them some stability and is a very good centre-back. Yeah. They're on the verge of signing Sissoko from Newcastle for 30 million.
That will be a great buy.
They've kept Lukaku. And they've had the best start in the Premier League for the last 10 years, I think it is, under Koeman.
Yeah.
Outside.
Europa League at least for Everton this year. Let's see how they continue on. But for me, I think Everton look good. Got a good manager. They've got a good team. You think of Ross Barkley is still in that team. You've got McCarthy. You've got two of the best attacking fullbacks in the Premier League, Seamus Coleman and Leighton Baines. I think they're a good team, and I think they've obviously let Stones go for big money, but they've reinvested it in the team.
Yeah.
Similar to kind of what Ryan was saying at Southampton, but this is more manufactured wealth rather than good management. But for me, that's my pick.
Yeah, that's a solid pick.
Interesting.
Um,
Very, very interesting.
Thank you, thank you. And moving on to the other end of the table, who didn't spend well and who is going to struggle? And I'm looking at potential relegation candidates here. Teams that we would have hoped would have invested, um, not heavily, but enough to kind of give themselves a fighting chance. Ryan, who do you think?
Just looking at the table now, I think most teams do quite well. I know they've had a great start. I still worry for Hull. They just don't have enough players. I know they brought in James Weir from Man United today, and I think they might have made one or two other moves, but their squad is just so small that come January, December time, they're going to be struggling to even just put a team out. So I think the
Who did you
writing
say, Ryan?
could be on the wall. Hull.
Hull, yeah.
Yeah,
Got
I
Will
think.
Keane as well from United.
Oh yeah, they got Will Keane too. Again, Keane and Weir, two guys who are a couple of levels below what was required at United. Whether they're enough to keep Hull in the Premier League, I'm not so sure. So I wish them well. I hope they do it. I hope Mike Phelan gets the job. But I just think that they're up against it big time. Aside from that, I think maybe Watford as well. Watford haven't really impressed me too much with their business. I think they got Lamina in from Juventus, didn't they? Who's a good player, but I don't know if that alone is going to be enough for them. Maybe their biggest business was hanging on to Igalo and Dini, which, to be honest, for the money that was being thrown at them, I'd probably taken it.
You know what? I like the look. I like the look of Hull. I don't know. Their midfield. They've now got a lot of Tottenham players that I think would have played together, like Mason, Huddleston, Livermore.
Yeah.
They're players that have played with each other.
But none of them were good enough for Tottenham.
No, I agree. None of them are good enough for Tottenham, but I think they'll gel quite well in this team, and I don't know. I hope they do make it, like Ryan was saying. But I think there are worse teams than that really
I think
haven't
their
done
11
anything.
is good. Their starting team is better than maybe people like Burnley's
Exactly,
Burnley
that's who I'm
starting team. But
looking
I
at.
just think once you get beyond that, they're really going to be struggling for numbers as much as anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hope I'm wrong. I hope they get through it. But
So just
these Premier
quickly,
League seasons take a lot out of teams.
So who are your three to go down?
I would go with.
Just whilst we're on the subject of bad signings and down the bottom end of the table, just three teams that you think.
I think Hull, Burnley, and Watford.
Okay.
Hull, Burnley, and Watford. Interesting.
Mm.
But the thing is, looking at Watford has spent quite a bit of money. They bought
got rid of
Pereira for 13 million, Kabul 3.5, Isaac Success 12.5, 6 million, 4 million, 3 million, 7 million. They bought Yanmat from Newcastle. No, any player coming from Newcastle obviously going to be an upgrade in any team. So but they've spent money, and the thing is, I think you don't want to go down and be the team that didn't spend anything, and you think we could have tried harder, we could have done a bit more. I think they've given themselves a fighting chance of staying up. They've got a decent core of players, as you said, with Igalo and Dini and Co. So yeah, I think Watford will be all right. So Keegan, who do you think? Talk to me.
Hull, Burnley, and I think Swansea might be an outside one to go down. I think they might struggle.
Swansea.
Are we talking about going down, or who you think has got who's done bad signings, or haven't signed enough, should we say?
In terms of who hasn't signed enough.
Let's go with the original question, and at the end of it,
Yeah.
just give your three teams.
Hull are miles ahead of everyone else. We laughed about that Curtis Davies tweet the other week, and they only had 9 players. Hull. Then the 3 to go down. Hull, Burnley, who aren't far behind, but they got Stephen Defoe. That is a great signing. Yeah, Swansea.
Hello.
Hello?
I think we've lost Michael.
Alright, well,
So
we'll
shall
wait.
we go? I'm sure we'll get Michael back on the show. He's gone for a walk probably to think about who's going to go down.
Frank, you carry on.
So I'll carry on. I think Burnley really. I haven't seen much transfer action from Burnley really. Um, I, for me, yeah, I'm looking at teams here, and there's teams that have made signings, and they are on the lower half of the table. I know we're only 3 games in. You know, Stoke have made some signings. Bournemouth, obviously, with today's news of Wilshere, I think that's major news if he stays fit. Watford, they've spent a lot of money. Crystal Palace signing left, right, and centre. You know, Loic Remy, Benteke. Um, so yeah, I think for me, it's got to be Burnley. I mean, even looking at other teams like West Ham, Liverpool, uh, Leicester, Tottenham, Middlesbrough, they're signing players. And yeah, I'm just going to go with Burnley. And I think the 3 teams that are going to go down are going to be, I think, Burnley's one of them, um, Swansea City, and Sunderland.
The Moyes factor will keep them in.
Welcome back, Mike.
Yeah, welcome back, Keegan.
I know you needed to go for a walk there to think about who's going to go down, so I'm just intrigued. Did you think about it?
Yeah, Swansea was my last pick. Whole
So-
Burnley, Swansea.
So whole Burnley, Swansea. Okay.
And interestingly, those are the 3 odds-on favourites to go down. Burnley, the bookies are saying Burnley are the favourites to go down, then Hull, then Sunderland, then Watford, then
Wow.
Swansea. So you guys are matching up with what the bookies are saying. So
Wow.
good shout, good shout. Now, the thing with Burnley is you can get what they're trying to do. They are a very, very small town. They're town?
Town.
Town.
Yeah, let's go with Town.
Must be a town. You know, they're a yo-yo club. I think they're kind of what West Brom used to be. They're probably too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the Premier League. And I think it's going to take that little bit of an extra step to kind of push them in the right direction. I'm pretty sure there's an interesting stat about Burnley, is that their population is very similar to the size of the stadium. Something like that. Hold on. A second. I read this somewhere. Right. Population Burnley, 73,000. Yeah. Stadium, which is Turf Moor. Anyone want to guess?
20,
20.
22.
Bad at guessing.
22,500. So you think the ratio between how many people are actually in Burnley to the actual stadium, not a big difference. Now, they're a club that keep their heads above water. You know, they're not going to make any massive waves in the Premier League, but you know, I think they can be kind of proud of what they've achieved so far. You know, they got a massive result against Liverpool the other week. You know, if they could stay up, it'd be massive for them. Another season in Premier League, bit more money, and then you know, they can buy some more players like Stephen Defoe.
Breaking news, by the way, guys. I
Oh,
like
we-
my breaking news.
There we go.
Sunderland has just signed Jason Denayer. He's the Belgium centre back. Played in Galatasaray. Was on loan to Galatasaray actually. He's actually
Man City.
Man City boy. But he was on loan to Celtic, then went on loan to Galatasaray, and now he has just signed for Sunderland.
Now, is that
21
going
years
to
old.
open the door for a late bid for Kone from Everton? Because I know they wanted him, the Sunderland centre back, and Sunderland didn't want to let him go unless they had a replacement. So it'll be interesting now if that deal is already wheels in motion, or starts
Kone
up.
for where? To go where?
Kone
Everton.
from Sunderland to Everton.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
suppose
yeah.
they've got Ashley Williams instead.
That's not a bad shout, because another bit of breaking news for you. Apparently, Everton were thought to be close to getting Sissoko from Newcastle,
Yeah.
but Spurs have come back in and agreed to meet the 30 million asking price.
Oh yes, get
Oh.
in there, Spurs.
Yeah.
There's life in
Oh
that, boys.
Ryan, this is
Everton
why I've
could be
missed you,
sitting on
Ryan, because
30
you just
million
come out
there.
with news like this.
See,
There you
Ryan's
go. And another one.
Ryan's who's in is much better than yours, Frank.
Do you want another one?
Go on, go for
Our
it.
mate,
for it.
our friend of the show, Shkodran Mustafi, the new Arsenal defender,
Yeah.
played for Germany tonight, and he got taken off injured.
Oh no!
Hold on, I'm just clapping here. I'm loving it. Deadline day. Do you know what? I'm going to remember the 31st of August 2016 for the rest of my life. This is amazing.
Oh, are we
Amazing.
going to get Terry back on to ask him what he thinks of that?
Terry, I'm really sorry to hear about that, mate. But
that is awful.
Yeah, no word on
honestly.
how serious it is, but yeah, he got taken off.
Oh
Wow,
no!
that's a shame.
Well,
So Holding could be back in.
Poor lad.
cancel the loan move for Chambers. He's coming back.
Wow, incredible. So the Arsenal signing is injured. For all you
Yes.
Arsenal fans that are listening, I'm really sorry to hear
He
that.
hasn't even stepped onto the training ground.
It's a jinx. It's got to be.
That's
this is
awful.
great.
That's awful.
Honestly.
But you know what, Ryan? You know what your new name's going to be? Mr. Exclusive.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mr. Exclusive. Love it.
Ryan, you are definitely have that. You can have that title for free, mate.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so it seems like there's not really much else apart from the Tottenham bid for Sissoko. Now, apparently, Newcastle proposed either a £30 million cash deal or 4 or 5 instalments of £6 million a season,
Ooh.
something like that.
Yeah,
And,
6 million over 5 years, wasn't it?
That's it, yeah. So the thing with Sissoko is, now, again, being a Newcastle supporter, this is the guy that came out while he was a Newcastle supporter saying his dream move would be to go to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Then he said, I'd love to play for Real Madrid. Neither of them made a bid for him. He's now gone to, say, potentially to Tottenham or Everton. Now, he said he wanted to leave to play Champions League football. He's not going to get that at Everton. Probably not even for, I'd say, the next 2 seasons. Tottenham, yes. The move to Tottenham probably makes sense. But if he goes to Everton, he's going to be a massive laughing stock.
Does he start for Tottenham as well? I think of the players they've got in their 4-2-3-1,
Probably not.
he's going to be after
Probably
one
not.
of the deep two, isn't he? Yeah. I don't think he's better than Moussa Dembele and obviously Eric Dyer is the specialist holding player there.
We're forgetting here that Tottenham are in the Champions League. We the more players we can have, the better it is, because it just means that we can keep players fit, fresh.
Well, Ericsson is the other one that we haven't mentioned. He's still there, very, very good player.
Wanyama as well, they've got in the central midfield as well.
Dembele needs to come back.
Dembele was a huge player last season.
Yeah.
Didn't get the credit he deserved.
No, he didn't. But I tell you, Tottenham have a squad. They have a squad and a half.
That's true.
It's great. It's great. I'm looking forward to it this season.
I've just retweeted a tweet from someone called Troll Football Media, who has come out with official Arsenal have activated €105 million release clause for Antoine Griezmann. It's happening. And it has no. And it has a picture of Arsene Wenger in black sunglasses with a cap which says "Thug Life." But I thought that was a very interesting tweet, so I'm going to go ahead and retweet that because that's funny.
Wow.
Did anyone see the video that I retweeted on Twitter earlier with the Arsenal transfer deadline day video?
Yes. Yeah,
No,
I saw that.
If you haven't seen it, check it out. It is brilliant. It's literally all the Arsenal players and Arsene, what it would be like at Arsenal on transfer deadline day, and there's just mass panic of people running all over the place. Arsene Wenger throwing bins around and trying to hit people. There's a fire going on in the background. It's brilliant. Check it out. Great video. But yeah, I think apart from the Sissoko deal, there were rumours that I read that Arsenal were going to put in a bid for Sturridge. I read, which would have been quite interesting because then I think he would have
Who's
done.
that? Sorry.
Arsenal were going to put a bid in for Daniel
Yes,
Sturridge.
I saw that. But I
Is that,
don't think that will be happening.
is that to replace Wilshere on the injury table?
Probably. They need room.
Yeah.
Well, they've got Mustafi now, so I think they're all right in that department.
It's just weird that Arsenal players always keep getting injured. You got Welbeck.
Well,
got
this is what I was saying to
Mustafi
Keegan earlier.
now injured.
Can you imagine if
Wilshere's
Wilshere
always
goes a full season without getting injured?
Oh, that would be great.
It'd be very interesting to see. Because Arsenal
But
have a massive history of injured players. Go on, Frank.
What would be even better, Lee, is Jack Wilshere going on loan for a whole year, not getting injured, then going back to Arsenal and having a major injury. No, I don't want that to happen to
We
him,
don't want to wish
obviously,
that
but
on World Jack.
no, we don't want to
But
wish that. We don't want to wish that on him. But it would just, if that happened, Arsenal have it's just, I don't know, they just jinx themselves every
There's been
time.
fingers pointed at them for years about their medical department. And
Yeah, that's true as well. There's always been,
also,
eyebrows raised.
bit of news. Not a massive transfer, but Hal Robson-Kanu is signed for West Brom, the Wales legend in the Euros.
Yes, the little
He left
turn
it
that he
late to
did.
decide, didn't he?
That was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So West
Signing.
Brom, decent bit of business. They got Chad Lee
Good
from
signing
Tottenham.
that is, that striker. I like him. He's a
Hal
good
Robson-Kanu, free transfer. Pulis working his magic, getting his players to fit into his very boring system, which is
Effective.
appears to be effective. So effective football, let's call it. No confirmation on David Luiz yet.
No.
They've agreed a
It's
fee,
gonna happen.
but hasn't been
He's in
confirmed.
London, isn't he?
He is in
Yeah,
London.
he was pictured
He,
in London earlier, so
got into St Pancras Station.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
yeah,
It's a no-brainer.
yeah, you'd think so. Although, to be honest, I was reading earlier on Twitter, Juventus had Axel Witsel in Turin, did a medical for him, but missed the deadline by a couple of minutes, so he's going back to Zenit St Petersburg. So it's never done until it's done.
Exactly.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, Axel Witsel, the Belgian midfielder.
Yeah.
Juve wanted him as a Pogba replacement, had it all agreed, had him over, did a medical, but they just missed the deadline. The deadline in Italy was at 10 o'clock.
You are
And they
kidding
didn't
me.
get the papers submitted. Yeah, so he's got to go back. So they'll join him on a
Strikes
free.
again.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's out of contract in the summer though, so they'll get him for free next year. So it's not so bad.
Oh my god. Yeah, but someone else will go in for him. Oh, all right. That's not good news.
Frank, do you want to take a walk? You
Oh,
alright?
I'm really annoyed at that because I was really excited about that signing.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
I could see it happening in January, to be honest. I know they've agreed to sign him next year already, but for a couple of million now with
Yeah,
5-6
better
months
than
left in his
nothing,
contract in
Zenit's
January, it could happen.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Juve have done some pretty amazing business this summer already, so they'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
yeah, I think they'll be
Champions
fine.
League contenders.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Right, guys. Well, I think we've come to the end of the show.
We have.
We'll see in the next 45 minutes or so if that David Luiz signing does get confirmed, and Sissoko still haven't been confirmed yet.
Yeah.
I've been harassing my sources at Newcastle, and nothing yet. I'm still waiting for Freddie Woodman to get back to me to see if he knows anything. But yeah, so we'll see if those two come through. And I think it's a bit late now for any new transfers to go through. But anyone want to guess what the total spend is for the Premier League so far?
600 mil.
I'm gonna go with 480 million.
Just today, you're talking altogether.
Just this window.
Just this window. I think it's over $1 billion, isn't it? It'll be around probably about 1.1, 1.2 billion or something crazy, won't it?
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. Let's see. Am I going to get this total?
I don't think.
Probably just stick Sky Sports News on at any point in the day. They love going on about it. It's like the children in need total for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hold on. What we'll do is we can extend this show for another hour. I'll get the calculator out.
We'll go through them all one by one.
You might tell me one by one. I think we could tweet that. We could tweet that later on, Lee.
Tweet it. We're gonna get Keegan's abacus out. We're gonna work that out. So yeah. So let's see what happens in the next 45 minutes. As always, Ryan, thank you very much for being on the show. Always a pleasure to have you on, Mr. Exclusive.
Pleasure, thank you very much.
Mr. Exclusive, thank you very much again.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Everyone, thank you for checking in for this week's show, and we'll speak to you again next week. We should be back to the normal time of 9 on Monday, but keep an eye out for social media for any scheduling changes. And that's it from us. Have a good evening, and see you next time.
Take care. See you next time.
Cheers.
Oh, he loves the ball. Shot the goal. A quick look at a right foot shot, and that is arrowed underneath the crossbar. That's a stupendous goal. He's not charged.